You have to jump through all these hoops, and you have to, to be an actor. I was just talking to somebody last night who went to acting school, and he did all sorts of, courses and stuff, and he never really got any real work, but he worked as in a restaurant the whole time because he's, trying to pay the bills, but meanwhile he's trying to be an actor. And it's like, why can't I just be an actor? Like, why do I have to? And same thing with singing. I have to always produce an album, and then I have to promote that album, and then I have to wait for my lucky break, and try sync songwriting, and hopefully somebody will hear my music, and I'll be able to make money. And it's like, I just don't want to do that. So I do to a certain extent, but I don't want to have to depend on these patriarchal systems, which we've all sort of fallen into, these patriarchal systems that do not support our true essence, our true nature, our gifts. And why should we have to fight for that? Why should we have to prove ourselves? Why can't we just be the artists we are?
That is a question.
I think we can be. I think we have to be, and by doing that, we just do it. We just do it, like the Nike says, just do it.
If anything, like with this podcast, it's to inspire others. Like, wow, they're doing it, and I maybe I've been afraid to try it, or maybe that does sound like something I want to experience and try. Let me give it a whirl. And it is a shame that I've been thinking deeply about certain things too, and it just seems like this, even life itself is kind of rigged against us. If you think we don't get to choose what family we're born into or where they live. We're born to wherever they are, and you have to grow up, and then as we get older, have to make our own choices. But anyway, enough about me.
No, I love hearing. I was thinking I've been doing all the talking, and I find you absolutely fascinating. You've had such a fascinating life, and the fact that you're doing this. I mean, I was so drawn to. I thought when I heard your first podcast, and I thought you are here to support other artists. Like, I love you. I love you. What a kind and generous person you are to even talk to us. To get us out to just have these conversations, because I think we're all hungry for like a support group. We want to feel like we're heard.
We want to be seen. We want to be heard. We want to feel like we matter.
Yeah, and art does matter. It matters so much. We know that. So even being able to just express ourselves like the way I'm doing right now, just to tell you my story, it's very liberating.
Well, of course, I'm glad you're here to share it. And we've got more. The three voices within you. Now, did they appear at the same time, or did some of them arrive first? I'm curious about that.
Well, I'm really curious about it too. I think I've come to recognize something. Okay, last night I started a choir in Cumberland. It's the first gospel chant and blues choir in Cumberland, and that's how I promoted it. I call it Soul Voices, and it's super well attended. I've got more people than I hoped to get, and they're all paying what I asked for, and which is amazing, because it's like I got really clear about what I'm going to do, and I decided, gospel blues, like, okay, there's all this gospel music that's been written. I've written a bunch of gospel tunes. I write tons of blues songs. I'm just going to give them my stuff. And we're going to teach them all the harmonies and teach them how to do the 1-4-5. And I'm going to do circle singing, and I'm going to follow Bobby McFerrin's voicestras and get them walking around and talking to each other and singing into each other's ears and all this beautiful embodied stuff that we love to do. And boom, they're all doing it last night. It was so exciting. Like I thought, oh, they're going to be very shy and scared, and I'll be lucky if I can get them to sing. It was incredible, and I came away feeling completely satisfied, completely like, yay, Joanna, you've done it. Like, you've started this, and they're all happy. I'm happy. And I realized that this voice, that this person that was leading it, her name is, that's true. She's the one of action. She's got her shit together. She's kind of going, let's do this. Let's get this together. And and I felt like this is me at 8 years old. This person is like the confident, enthusiastic, sweet, friendly person that I was all my life, without any restraints, and wanting to build community. You know, I'll tell you what happened when I was 10 in that play that I was in, I told you about, as the elf. There were 2 guards in it, and one of them was a draft dodger, and the other one was an environmental activist, and they both walked me home at night different times, and they both told me all about like the dangers of DDT and about the Vietnam War and how bad it was and everything. And that kind of turned me on and made me kind of politically aware. So at 8 years old, I felt like I sort of, you know, the lights went on, and I started recycling. I started being an environmental activist, and I have been my whole life. So this need, I had to connect with people and help them to find their voice, find pleasure in singing, you know, get into the sensual body. That's one character, but she also, these other characters come out. So then there's this other person, Sonia, I call her, and it's like, I've got these incredibly, deliciously racy, fabulously funny songs that I need to do a cabaret show around. So yeah, they do come out all at the same time sometimes.
Now, the names, did the names come to you, or did you name them?
They kind of came to me. Mm-hmm. They kind of came to me, and then I investigated them all. I looked them up by the meaning of each one of them, and then I wrote a story about each one of them. I wrote like a treatment, and I started writing this musical called Cochlea, the musical. So meaning that she is the musical person, Cochlea, and she is this kind of animator of these 3 different personas. And I haven't actually put this show together, but it's one of my plans is to write a full-length musical that involves the story behind these 3 women and Cochlea. And Cochlea is kind of like an autistic, kind of idiot savant kind of person who bangs on pots and hears music in fishing boats and plays nose cornets and Dopplers and does strange things with her body that make music. And the other 3 are very sort of, you know, more traditional musicians. And they all have a different story, and it's all around. And it's quite involved.
Have you ever drawn them? Like illustrated a drawing of what they might look like?
No. I'm not much of a drawer, but I described them when I did the treatment, the kind of clothes they wear, what they look like, what their energy's like, what their jobs were like, where they work, you know, what their history was, you know, what age they are, that kind of thing. So I've described them.
Wow. Now, when you were just taking me back to the boat, you had the song in your head. Now, did you have like pen and paper on you to write this down, or was it still safe in your head by the time you were able to get to something to write lyrics down?
Well, for that one, I think I probably wrote it down. I just sang it over and over and over and over again. And it was like a chant, mandala chant. And it was like, I mean, it's like the story of my life. It starts, you know, from this moment of I walking away to this story of it, you know, anyway. Mm-hmm. I floated down the river of my life. Death greeted me with open arms, and now I realize why. Eternity, love, life, and me, free. And I was 16 when I wrote it, so it's, you know, the lyrics are kind of, you know, fairly simplistic in a way, but it reminds me a little bit of it's like kind of like my Siddhartha moment, I guess, you know, my Hermann Hesse Siddhartha moment of, you know, inner reflection. So, yes, I think I probably wrote that one down, but there's another song I wrote that is probably my favorite song, Joy Reflected. Don't know why, but it deeply resonates with my innocence, with me. I don't know. I don't know what it is about the song. It's got a kind of a Celtic feel. I play viola, and penny whistle on the recording. So it was beautiful because it's the first time I got to harmonize with myself. And it was a sort of a call out to Mother Nature to help me to, like, kind of, calling out to be, oh Mother, Mother Nature, oh Mother, Mother, oh Mother, Mother, oh Mother, Mother, comfort me. I lost my way again. And then it turned into a song about my mother, who at the time was about 75, and I gave it to her for her 75th birthday. And she's 95 now, so I wrote it quite a while ago.
Good for her.
But, yeah, so that one, I had to really focus on that one because it was quite beautiful. The lyrics were very, very visual and very poetic. So I had to really keep saying it over and over as I walked through the woods without anything to write with.
Do you normally carry something to write with? Like, say you're out and about and all of a sudden, I'm getting lyrics. I got to get them down on something.
Yes, actually, I love my phone now. My phone is amazing because I've got a voice recorder, so I've got snippets. Yes, I always walked with a book. Before I had my phone, I always walked with a lyric book. And I've got a lot of unfinished songs.
So you have released some albums. About how many?
Well, I've got about 5 albums now. So the first one was with Joanna Finch, and that came out in 2000. And then we did another album in 2004.
What about In the Arms of Morpheus?
In the Arms of Morpheus, yes, that came out in 2006. Is that how long ago? That's a long time ago. No way. Really? I can't believe that. No. It's incredible.
Flies.
Wow.
And what was the genesis of that album?
Well, a lot of it really are stories about my failing marriage in a way, but in a way not. You know, there's it was really about coming into myself. It was a lot to do with the jazz that I've been studying. It was a lot of things, you know. They're mostly stories of love, really. They're stories about love and yes, growth. It's never too late to fall in love with a tree. It's never too late to fall in love with a cloud. You get so smoochy when you want to say goodbye. You know, whatever. When I fall from heaven into the arms of the angel below, and he catches me and holds me so. And how are the Michaelmas daisies? Bare branches. Bare branches was kind of foreboding or foreshadowing of my marriage ending. It's quite beautiful. I think they're very poetic. They're all poetic songs. I think a lot of people can relate to. There's a gospel tune. The very last tune is a gospel tune. Suffer my heart to go on without you. And I think it's pretty universal how people relate to it. I had people say to me when they were dealing with grief, they would listen to that song over and over again and just cry and cry and cry. So,
you're very pleased with the album?
Yeah, I was very fortunate. I tried for a grant to pay for it, and I didn't get the grant, so I remortgaged my house to the tune of $15,000 and got the best Canadian band I could get. I hired all really remarkable studio musicians: Miles Black, Jesse Zubot, John Reichman on mandolin, Buff Allen, Ken Lister.
Where did you record it?
I recorded it in Nanaimo. There's a really good recording studio on Vancouver Island in Nanaimo, and the man who produced it helped me produce it. He's really connected with the big Canadian jazz musicians, and a lot of them I sort of handpicked myself because I'd met them at different festivals and things, and it was really an amazing experience because, you know, we just got the charts ready. We just, you know, wrote the charts, made sure that all the chords were right, and I sang it with my producer, made sure that everything was good, and then we went in the studio and I'd sing like up to the bridge, and then we would record with, you know, they just, you know, just reading right off the chart with no words or anything. I mean, I had the lyric sheet beside. They just nailed it. Like we recorded 7 songs in 7 hours the first day.
Wow.
It was incredible. They were just so good, and it was just beautiful. And then I was like, oh my God, what have I done? These musicians are incredible. And then I had